Okay, if we're making a shaker door and we want to make it parametric so that as the size of the door changes, the machining changes with it. First of all, once we've done the machining, we go into Modify, Edit Parametric Geometry, and the first one we need to go for is the outside, and it says at the bottom left select polyline. So if I click on the outside polyline, and where my red cross is, which is the top left in this case, that is where the point that we're looking at. So on this we're looking at the top left, and I want it to be linked to the top left, so I click the top left of this box. So it's that position is always at x0 and it's always at dy because it's the furthest point. I move on to the next one. We're now at top right. I select top right. It's now always at dx and dy. Point 3 is at the bottom right, so bottom right. So it's always dx and it's always at y0, and then the bottom left is at the bottom corner, so I can click that, although that's where it'll be anyway. So I can OK that one. I now want to do another geometry, so again, edit parametric geometries. We'll go for this one on the left. So the top is linked to the top left, so it's always going to be 81. Now we could make that a parameter, so that could change. In this case we're not going to at the moment, and then we go to point 2, which is always linked to the bottom left, and we can OK that one. We can now go for another geometry. So edit parametric, we'll go for the right one. This is linked to the top right, so it's always the dx minus the 81. Go to the second point at the bottom, and this is always linked to the bottom right, and we'll OK that one. The last one now is the shape in the middle, so edit parametric geometries again, and that is this one. I can't zoom out from there unfortunately now, but that's linked to the top left, so it's 80 in and 80 from the top. Move to the next point, which is the top right, therefore the next point is going to be the bottom right, and the next point is going to be the bottom left, and OK that one. Just looking at that, have we got another geometry? Yeah, we've got another geometry there as well, so that one needs to be made parametric. So click on there. In fact, let's zoom out a bit so we can see it. Edit parametric geometry, click on that one, that's top left, next top right, next bottom right, next bottom left. So you can see these are, if they're registered from the bottom corner, they're not going to move anyway, so they're both as numbers, whereas the other ones are dx minus the 81. That top corner is dx minus 81, dy minus 81. As I say, that 81 could be made as a variable down here, so we can alter that as we went along. So if we click OK on there now, hopefully we've got all of those on there. So we could save those parametric shapes, but if it's just to do with this drawing, it's good enough on there. So if we go now, let's say we want to machine the outside, let's say we're going to nest it, so we'll go for cut, select your cutter, outside, say clockwise, the board thickness, how many passes, all as normal, go to select, pick on the outside geometry. That has now put the tool up there. Obviously we could add lead in, lead out, etc. One thing to make sure of whenever you're using the cut or the vertical mill, that this red icon down here which says join to geometry, make sure it is red, so then as the geometry changes the machining will go with it. If it's green it won't link with it. Okay, the other two, now let's take these two lines up here, these are going to be vertical mill. So we're going to vertical mill. Let's say, well, we'll go with the same tool, but you can change the tool. I want to go down the center of this line because it's an open-ended line. I'm going to go with the geometry, and I don't know, 2 mil deep. Make sure that's red. Select on there, that is now machining down there. Maybe I want to go back up this one. I can't see my geometry, so There we go. So if I go onto this one, I want to go against the geometry now, so I want to go back up on that one there. We've got the same with the machining. I'm guessing that this is going to go around, let's say we're going to go 6mm deep. Maybe you're using a conical tool or something. I don't know whether I've got one in there. Oh yeah, that's one there. So I'm going to go inside clockwise 6mm deep. I'm going to say select. I'm going to go on, let's say it's that line. So I'm going too deep, so we'll stop that and let's pick a different depth. Let's go 4mm. That one. Right, okay. The next problem is that geometry, whatever it was, says it wasn't joined. So if I select across there, join selected geometries, that says there's no geometry there anyway. So can't see the problem with that. Inside, round there, apply. Says it wasn't on the active face. Move the start point to there. If we want to pocket the middle area away, let's go into pocketing on there. With pocketing, make sure this box at the top here is red. By default it's normally green, so make sure that is red to link it to the machining, to the geometry. All your distances, etc. in there. Select your tool, outside, inside, whatever, select, pick on the geometry and put that in there. So now in 3D we have our shape. If we went to change this size, let's say it gets bigger, so instead of 296 it's 496, instead of there it is 303, we click apply. And right, so I missed a geometry up there that didn't make that parametric, so we'll go back to where we were, 2, 4. So one of these geometries up here must be that one as it's done on there. In fact, take that first. We need to remove that machining, go to edit parametric geometries, it was that one there, although that says it should be parametric, that is top left, we're fine with that. Next one top right, next one bottom right, next one bottom left. So unless there are two geometries under there, that's the other one. Let's have a look. There were two geometries, so in theory now my parametric one should be on top, hopefully. Right, inside engraver, that one 4mm deep, that was red down there, so let me hope I can get it this time. And if we go and change size, we'll just try one at the moment. That has gone with it, and if we change that one there, that has gone with it as well. Okay, so there was two geometries on that one. If I delete that one, that was your original one. The other that was a duplicate one. The other geometries, as you can see, have changed on there. If we go back, in case the other one was your default size, 2, 4, I think, onto that one. If we save that, if I go file and save, I'll put that on my desktop on there. So if we now go into nesting, if you were going to nest these, you can go into nesting. I'll make sure I've got an 18mm board. I have, that will do. I can go into my panel list. So if I click on here, go to my desktop, find that drawing, that one. And so what I could do now, let's say I want one of those, what I could do now is go to that one and copy that several times on there. I can change these numbers. Hopefully none of these and make it too small, because I'm just guessing at them. And on this one we'll have 496, 596, 396, any number you like. There we go. So I've got my material type, and then I've given my material no name, so I don't need to enter a name in there. I've got my numbers that I want. Obviously I can change those if I want, but I've called that same program up several times in different sizes. So I can now click there, save it, distance between parts 20mm, maybe 5mm around the edge of the board, apply or process nesting. As you can see, this, as each size is now being imported into the nesting, because the geometry is parametric, the machine is changing with it and is making parametric machinings on a nested board. So we don't see that, so we can see all of those now. It's the same program, just with my different sizes that has programmed it out. Hopefully that helps with making parametric shaker doors.